Hey guys, how we doing? Thanks so much. I know it's Saturday night. I know I've got this one out late, but here it is. Here I am. You'll probably notice I'm not in my usual setting. I don't have the formula up on the wall behind me. This is what we're going to go through. The reason for that, as you've probably seen, is that I've been in Marble Arch this weekend with Douglas Vermeeren doing his Speaking Business Multiplier. I've been putting a lot of photos and stuff up. It's been a fantastic few days, and I'm actually staying with a couple of friends of mine who have been really, really gracious hosts and letting me stay here for the weekend. So thanks so much to them for letting me be here. So tonight's video is the video on confidence. And that's what I want to bring, that's what I want to deliver to you. And I'm going to let you know right off the bat that the majority of what we're going to talk about today is things that you are going to have to really work to implement. So as I said before, it's like a muscle. Confidence is something that you need to train, you need to develop yourself. And the biggest thing that we can do to actually begin that development is to become aware of some of the thought patterns and some of the things that we're saying and doing or telling ourselves that are actually holding us back and that are giving us that negative approach to what's coming forward. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some of the tricks and some of the awareness techniques so that then we can start building it. And trust me guys, these are things that you're going to definitely start noticing when you get into situations that you're not feeling confident in. So that's going to be cool. I mean, to be honest with you, when I did my first Facebook Live, I went through a lot of these things myself. So I've noticed these, I've dealt with them, and that's what sort of brings me into this position. It's been happening in the course as well, because we have to get up and speak in front of 10 other people for a few minutes at a time with basically no prep. Thanks, Doug. That's been great fun. So what I'll do, as always, I'm going to get stuck in and I'm going to do this one. So the first thing really that I want to bring up and that I want to make people aware of is sort of a swear word when it comes to confidence, when it comes to any sort of goal that you have, and that word is perfection, right? It doesn't exist. Don't think that it does. I know that when you talk about it, of course it doesn't exist. Nobody's perfect. We all know that. But when it comes to inside you, too often people get caught up thinking that they have to go and be perfect. I have to go to work and I have to do everything right. I have to go home and I have to do everything right. If you're living with this feeling, as a lot of people are, that's just crazy. Say it to yourself out loud and sort of realize how crazy it sounds, right? How can anyone actually be perfect? Humans make mistakes. That's the whole point of sort of being human. We make those errors. So if you are living with the belief that you're perfect, you need to sort of just start forgetting it. Yeah, straight away. The good way of noticing this is just before you start a task, if you start to get nervous, if it's something that makes you unconfident every day, before you leave the house, am I trying to be perfect today? And if you are, stop it. The thing that we get is we see glimpses of what looks like perfect lives. We see Instagram posts of beautiful people in beautiful places. We see Facebook posts about how much money people are making or how well they're eating or how whatever's going on in their lives. And we think that they're perfect because we're seeing their perfect little bits. The thing is, they're not perfect. Recently, I've been talking to some really successful people who have made quite a lot of money and some people who are just really, really happy in their lives. And trust me, they'll be the first to tell you that they are not perfect. They make mistakes. And that's what they do. They get over it. They realize they're going to make it right from the start. As part of your life, if you believe you're not going to make a mistake ever again, you can sort of see why you're not confident with what you're doing. Because you're going to go out there expecting to make a mistake, but thinking that you shouldn't. That's sort of crazy, right? So be aware of that with everything that you're doing, guys, and just really sort of ingrain yourself to ask the question when it gets there. That's going to lead me on quite nicely into what comes up next. So the perfection part, be aware of it, be used to it, start noticing when you're putting too much pressure on yourself. The second thing is, as a human adult, when we make mistakes, we can deal with the consequences. So is this going to kill me? Is this going to end my life? Is it going to cause me huge emotional pain? These sorts of things are big consequences of big decisions and therefore require some serious thought. Most every other thing is going to be something that you can deal with and you can deal with very quickly, right? So the common examples are something like if you've got a job interview. You're going to go for an interview for a job that's quite important to you. The outcomes are either you get the job or you don't. You can deal with both of them. If you don't get the job, what's going to happen next, right? You're going to go and get another one. You're going to go get another interview. If it's something that you're struggling with, you're going to combine it with the commitment part. You're going to combine it with the motivation to find the job and your goal of getting it. and you're going to use that confidence and you're going to keep pushing forward. So first thing is, remember the outcomes that you're going for, you can deal with both of them. You have to deal with them. There's no other way. So before you actually attempt the task, remind yourself, whatever happens here, I'm going to live through it. I am going to survive it. That's going to give you the freedom to go and actually attempt the task. And when I come on to the next point that I want to make, really, you are going to see what's happening in your decision up until the outcome. But the first thing you need to realize going in is, one, you're not perfect. You're going to make mistakes. Two, when you make those mistakes, you're going to be able to deal with them, right? And again, I'm not giving you anything groundbreaking here. You've been dealing with mistakes and you've been making them since you were really, really young, right? It's how you learned to walk. You fell over, you got up, you kept going. So these aren't revolutionary things, but what happens is, because we keep seeing perfect lives, because we keep seeing people achieve everything they want to achieve, because that's all they choose to share, we start thinking that we need to be doing those things as well. So keep aware. Make sure everything you try, you're still thinking these things and you're still remembering that you're just human. Yeah? Cool. So let's get into the actual thick of it. The task that you're trying to do, or the belief that you're carrying around, or whatever it is that you actually want to go for, and what we need to do. And the interview situation is actually quite a good one, because a lot of people get really, really super nervous in interviews. And it's for good reason when you hear what I'm going to say. So there's two paths that people take when they're going to try and do something. And the first one is the most common one, and it's the one where you will find that people start lacking confidence because of it. We choose to put our confidence in our ability to get the result. So the result in the interview case is getting the job. Now, you hopefully saw I put an infographic out not too long ago about whether or not we can change something and whether or not we should worry about it if we can't, right? You actually getting the job or not is not something you can control. Believe it or not, the outcome of that, you cannot definitely 100% choose that result, right? So your ability to get that result is where your confidence is going. That means you can't ever have 100% confidence in the outcome of the result. The only way you're really going to be able to increase your confidence in that situation is to either increase your ability to change the result, aka become the hiring guy, or get super, super skilled at interviewing, in which case you still will never be able to be 100%, or convince yourself and believe that you can when really you can't. Now, both of those ways of increasing your confidence aren't going to do any good for you, because there's so much variation. You still can't predict it, you still can't plan it, so ultimately your confidence still isn't going to be there. The second way, which is what you do when you need more confidence, the people you see that you think, God, look, I wish I had that confidence. The way we do it, the way people that are confident do it, is we look at doing our best. So if you want to be more confident, stop trying to change the outcome. You can't change it, accept that. You can influence it. And the way you influence it is by doing your best. And again, this isn't something new. You've probably been hearing this from your parents since you were 4. You do your best, you've always got a 100% chance of doing that. So your confidence is now based on how you're going to do your best. You can be 100% confident you're going to do your best. Why wouldn't you? The only reason you're not going to do your best is because you're lazy, you're negative, you don't really want it anyway, in which case it's not going to fit in that formula that I've normally got written behind me, which I can't point out anymore. So don't try the task if you don't really want it, right? If you do, put it into doing your best. Now you go to the interview and to yourself, okay, I'm going to go here, I'm going to do absolutely everything in my power to influence this guy's decision, right? I'm going to absolutely do my 100% best. Cool, perfect. You can walk out of there no matter the result with your head held high, because there's nothing more you could have done. So what can happen though is maybe you leave and you think, I could have done that better, right? Maybe that wasn't my best. The thing is, it was. Because in that moment, in the time that you had, you did everything you could think of. That definitely doesn't mean that if you did it again, would it be better? Yeah, probably, because you know what was coming. A third time, it'd be even better again, right? So your best can change, but in that moment, it was 100% of what you could do. And you could be 100% confident that you're going to do 100% of what you can do. So when you are approaching a task, if it's making you feel nervous, if you feel like your confidence is lacking, maybe you're going for an interview, maybe you're approaching someone and you're going to ask them out. Maybe you're doing something that just makes you nervous for the very first time. Maybe you're standing up on stage, maybe you're getting in front of a group or presenting something at work. The point is, firstly, don't expect to be perfect. You're wasting your time. You're going around in circles. You just basically, just don't do that bit. Yeah, don't think you're going to be perfect. Get ready to make mistakes. Secondly, whatever the outcome is, good or bad, you're going to be able to deal with it, right? The person turns you down. Okay, cool. Probably won't be the last time. Probably wasn't the first time. You don't get the job. Okay, cool. We can go for another one. Yeah, we can work through that. Unless it is actually going to kill you guys, it's not something you need to be that nervous about. If you have a serious consequence, something that is really awful, there are so many great people out there that you can talk to and you can get help from, right? How many stories have you heard about people who got their first business, went bankrupt, came back and made more than they ever made before? Millionaires now. Whatever the consequence is, yes, you can deal with it. Yeah? And finally, when you are going to a task, when you're going to do something that is really honestly important to you, ask yourself before it, where's my confidence based? What am I basing it on? Am I basing it on something I can control? Or am I basing it on something that is out of my control? If it's out of your control, you're letting somebody else choose how confident you're going to be. That's crazy, right? Choose how confident you're going to be by choosing to base it on something you can control. So those are three pretty simple things, guys. But what's important is that you start being aware of them. Now, this isn't something that you're going to be instantly aware of. So tomorrow you're not going to go away and be more confident because you listened to me tonight. It can take a while, okay? So don't expect it to happen straight away. What will happen is when you start thinking, oh, I'm not feeling confident, you're going to start noticing what I've told you and you're going to start thinking, that's because I'm doing this, right? Now, at first, changing your behavior is going to be hard, even though you've noticed it. You might actually have to physically stop and write something down to remind yourself. If that is the case, that's cool. That's going to take a couple of minutes every time. Eventually, you're going to get better and better at it until your subconscious mind is doing it in seconds. So once you have practice and once you have put yourself into a more confident, more outgoing position, you're going to be making these sort of noticing these things instantly, straight away. And yeah, it's going to make you feel loads better. So guys, as always, your comments and your personal messages, send them over to me. I love hearing it. I love interacting with you all. It's exactly why I do this, so please get them over. Again, share it with anyone you think would like to see it, you think it's going to help, because that's, again, more places that I can help people from. There was a question from somebody before about an ebook. I am looking at putting this in an ebook, obviously gauging how many people would be interested in it. So if you think that's something you would like, then send me a message and just let me know you'd be interested. It is something I'm still polishing. So you can see from these videos, the information's there. I want to polish them up a little bit. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, and have a great Saturday night. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.